Hello, lizard figure collectors, of which there must be so many of us. Anyways, this is the Lizard Kingdom's second wave, and today we got the Conolophus subcristatus, and next to it the Cyclura lewisi. So let's open these up. So the box is really cheap, there's nothing else on there, but the foam is good. Yeah, it's a lot of foam, and it has to be because this is a rigid plastic, so you gotta be careful pulling these out of the bag. You might snag something and break something fragile like a toe off. Alright, so that one made it out okay. And then the blue iguana in here. Again, be very careful. So the Galapagos Land Iguana, as this is commonly called, a pretty big lizard. It can grow up to 1.5 meters in length and weigh up to 13 kilos. It's primarily an herbivore, and it primarily lives off a prickly pear cactus, and that's where it gets most of its water as well, because there isn't much fresh water on these Galapagos Islands. Some of them have been known to eat some insects and stuff like that, and they can live up to 69 years. These things only lay 2 to 20 eggs at a time, but before, when Charles Darwin discovered these, there were no predators, so the islands were totally covered with these things. But then regular man came along and released pigs, rats, cats, and dogs, and these things are now not so populous anymore. It's estimated there's between 5 and 10,000 of these land iguanas throughout the Galapagos Islands right now. Over on Baltra Island, these things went extinct because the stupid soldiers there shot the lizards for amusement. But in the 30s, William Randolph Hearst came in and reintroduced them, and I guess they're now, back on that island. So humans took them out, humans brought them back. Let me get a different angle of light here. Looking at the bottom here, we have a lot of fine scales. They're very round in their shape. Interesting. You got the feet / hand looking things. The claws don't really have any paint though. That's kind of weak. I don't know if that's accurate to the real thing. I didn't pay attention. Maybe it is, because most of the other ones, they do paint the claws. Anyhow, this tail's really stubby here, and then we have this really dark brown painted on top of all this yellow. The yellow does have some shading going on. It might be hard for the camera to pick up, but you'll see the bottom of the paws are quite like white, and then you can see the shading changes here on the bottom of the head here, and also the scales, how they flatten out and become more geometric. Yeah, very big here, just like a little smirk, it looks like. The eye is actually pretty well painted. It looks just black from afar, but if I zoom in, there's a black pupil. There's like a really faint gray line for the iris, and then the sclera is black, and there's a little white dot for a reflection there, and then this off-white for the eyelids and stuff. Some funky bumps here at the top of the head. The nostrils unfortunately have not enough depth. They could have been molded deeper, I think, or maybe put some black paint in there. Alright, just like a duh kind of face. Cool spikes going down the back of this thing though. Really neat, and they seem to be shaded as well a little bit. Very good. So Cyclura lewisi is known as the blue iguana, and it's native only to the island of Grand Cayman. And in 2003, there were estimated to only be 15 of these things, only 5 to 15 of them on that island. But human intervention eventually got the population up to 750 in 2012. So thankfully this thing was so close to extinction, but we stepped in there, and they're okay now. Alright, so that's good. One of these lived up to be 69 years old in a zoo, and very much like the last iguana, they can grow 1.5 meters and around 14 kilos in weight. Alright, so let's see here. So the bottom again is very similar, round scales. This one does have black painted claws. So in fact, I kind of feel like these are identical. Hold on here. No, they're different. The feet on the blue one are bigger. Yeah. So, but you know, the scaling looks identical. The posture looks very identical too, but it is slightly different. Alright, so this one's got a big splotch of darker blue. It's still a pretty light blue. There's such a very light blue over this thing. There's some airbrushing of this darker blue over this light body. And this one's got some funky scaling again. Big flat geometric ones around the face. The eye on this one, black, orange, a little white reflection there. Very glossy, whereas the rest of the body is very matte. The big spikes going down the back have some white tips. Alrighty. It's not symmetric. The paint is not symmetric, which makes sense. Yeah, all in all, looks pretty neat. Funky little 8-pack of scales up there. And then the nostrils on these are pretty deep. No paint, but they look pretty dark at certain angles, so that's good. Bunch of spikes here above the eyes. Interesting. Alright. So from Lizard Kingdoms 1, we have the marine iguana with a really cool paint scheme. And then from Animal Heavily Embodied Wave 16, we have their idea of this blue iguana. So let's take a look at those next to each other. The Animal Heavily Embodied is really red irises or scleras and is pointing upwards. It's cartoony for sure. The scaling is much, much finer on the Animal Heavenly Body. But I think I prefer the Lizard Kingdom still. It's I just like the cartoon deformation of this one more. They're both neat, but it's more vibrant for sure. Okay, well, I think I still got 2 more that I'm going to try to get from this collection, so we'll see you then. Thanks for checking this video out today.